Hey guys, it's Will, and I am here today with Nathan of Rotting Llama Productions. Say hi, Nathan.
Hi, how's it going? Thanks for having me. Very excited.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to see you. Glad to actually see you face to face, sort of, in a virtual kind of way.
Yeah, been well overdue.
Yeah, I first saw you like a long time ago. I was looking at other like narration videos, like scary videos, that kind of thing, and I happened to come across the one. I can't remember what it was called, but I remember the thumbnail was a clown at a train station and I listened to the video and it was really good. I liked it, and then I was like, "Oh man, let me comment on it." And then I gave you like some kind of feedback. I can't remember what I said. I think it was something to do with the volume or something,
Yeah,
which is really bad on my part. I'm so sorry,
yeah,
but yeah, I saw that, wanted to talk to you, and then you were really kind, and that was pretty cool. And then I messaged you, and then you messaged me back, and I was like, man, I want to be like Rowdy Llama Productions. That's
that's very
that's
kind.
that's who I aspired to be.
Uh,
And then we were finally able to talk and then kind of
yeah,
collab on that Amityville horror video,
yeah,
which turned out really well.
yeah. It's done quite well. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah. Um, I'm always wanting to learn as well. So any comments like that I get where it is feedback on how I can improve myself, then I'm more than willing to accept them because nobody's perfect and everyone's always got that little bit extra room to grow as well.
Yeah, I know I got a lot to work on. It's funny. Have you rewatched some of your older videos and just kind of
Oh,
like cringed at
yeah.
it?
Yeah. I mean, I used to have a lot more, and I've made like a lot of them private because they're just so bad. But for me, they were like stepping stones to sort of learn and be better.
Right. Yeah, I've started looking at some of mine again, and yeah, the editing is terrible. And then like the microphone that I use, which the cool thing about starting with YouTube is starting with like the basic bare minimum, like the cheapest microphone you can find, sometimes like a webcam microphone or like whatever video editing software. And then as you get more and more better with it, you start to get better equipment, better software, and everything. Uh, and it's just funny like to see like how you've like come a long way, and I've enjoyed your videos from when you started doing the narrations, which I've seen that you've done some really cool collaborations with other scary story narrators, and I love those. I can't remember what was that girl's name that you did that video with.
Um, she was called Lady White Rabbit, I believe.
Yes, that
I've
one.
done I've done a few with her. I've done some with a guy called Doctor Creepin, who's quite big. I've done some with a channel called Joey's Nightmares, but I think that channel's dead now. And there was another channel called Sinful's Horror Stories. I think he's still going around, but I'm not sure how active he is at the moment. But them channels were much bigger than I was at the time. I think I had like 100 subscribers or something, but they gave me that chance and that platform to kind of like work with me. So I like to do that with other people. So if I see anyone who's smaller than I am, I'm not big by any means, but if I see anyone who's smaller than I am, I'm more than happy to reach out and work with them just because sometimes all you need is that little boost just to sort of like get your confidence up and to try and broaden your audience, I guess.
Yeah, and I've collaborated with a few other narration channels, and you were incredibly professional, and it was a joy working with you. So I brought you
Yeah.
on today. I was like, man, yeah, we definitely got to work together, and I wanted to kind of like bring you to my audience, so that way they can be able to see you, see like how you've come along with YouTube,
Yeah.
and so I do want to ask, why scary story narrations? Why murder case files? Why was that something that interests you? Why that niche?
Yeah. So I originally started YouTube in 2006, but not with this channel. I did like comedy stuff, and it was really bad. I was really young as well, so looking back at some of that stuff, it's a little bit risky. So that's not around no more. Um, but then I've always had like an interest and a love for horror stuff. And I saw a lot of other YouTube narrators, and I thought, oh, I can do that. It looks pretty easy. It's not that easy, especially when you're making mistakes and you've got to edit all the audio. That's really tedious. But I've always had like a love for horror and a love for like true crime and things like that. I live really close to a maximum security prison called Wakefield Prison, and it holds like a lot of horrible people, basically. Um, and that's one of the main things that motivated me to do some true crime stuff. So I did some research on who's in there, and I think I've got 10 videos of the people in there, like going over what they did and who they are and stuff. It's all just kind of like snowballed from there, I guess.
Yeah, so hopefully none of them have a prison break.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Man, so one of my first scary story narrations that I didn't realize that there's a program where you can go in and you can go in and edit your breaths and knock out the background noise. I didn't realize that. And so what the first one that I did is I went in through each breath and I edited all of them. And it took me like 4 hours for a 20-minute narration, and I didn't know that. So, yeah.
I, I still do that now. I've only just learned about this from you, so you have to tell me what that is because I'm still snipping out all the little bits because I don't know what that software is. It'll be a complete time saver with that.
It depends on what software you're using. Like, are you using Audacity or are you editing in the software?
I edit in the software, but I'm happy to get other stuff if it
Okay.
helps.
What software do you use?
So I've got an Apple MacBook, so if it's something basic, I'll just use iMovie because I'm not exactly like creating anything spectacular. I've got a Final Cut Pro, but I don't really use that too much. I use it for just sort of doing cool effects on like short clips and then just adding it in because it's just easier for me.
I remember when I first started to see like your intro with like the tape going in and like some of the
Yeah.
backgrounds that you would have. I'm like, man, I want to do that.
Hmm.
Like I didn't realize that you could actually do that kind of stuff, and so I kind of started like taking from you like some of the little background stuff that you can do while you do the scary story narration. But as far as the software goes to edit it, I know on if you have the Mac, you can go into GarageBand, and
Oh yeah.
down at the bottom left, it has like a little eye icon depending on which version you have. If you click on that, it'll say like noise gate. Do noise gate, it'll knock it out. And if you turn it up just enough and your mouth is close enough to the microphone, as you go to take the breath, kind of like pull back a little bit consciously and then go back and speak again. It'll take it out. It'll
That
save a lot of
sounds.
time.
Yeah. It's actually really helpful. I'll definitely be using that.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of those things, it's not common knowledge, and that's the fun part of starting YouTube, is you kind of learn as you go. Like for instance, this live stuff. Probably like a month from now, I'll look back and be like, "Will, why are you doing it like this? It's so much difficult. It's so much harder than it should be." Uh, but you got to figure it out as you go, and
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
it's pretty cool seeing like your older videos and seeing how you've grown as a channel and where you've come from. What quick question: what was the first video that you did where all of a sudden it blew up and you're like, whoa! Like all of a sudden there's a lot of people watching.
Yeah, so it was this. I don't exactly know what it's called, but it's called Oscar the Modular Body, and it's like this like weird, creepy science experiment. Um, and essentially, this scientist has like this little bit of flesh, and he puts some things onto it, and it moves around. It looks like it's alive. I just covered that, just spoke about that, said how weird it was, and I remember one night, it got 12,000 views in like one day, and I was like, "What is going on?" Um, but yeah, my other video, what's kind of I say blow up, but it's got about 60,000 views. So compared to a lot of people, that's nothing. But to me, like even like a few hundred or thousand is a lot to me. Um, and that one is about a prisoner near me called Robert Maudsley, and he like his cell's in the basement of the prison, and in the film Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter's prison cell is based off that.
That's it's funny how like you'll upload a video and it'll be the strangest videos. It'll be like one that you don't even think that it would actually catch on. Like that algorithm is weird.
Yeah, definitely. And then I like to look at um, where the videos have been watched, and I found that a lot of my views come from Facebook. So I'm in quite a lot of like horror and crime groups, and I'll just post the videos in there, and that usually works for me. People use Twitter quite a lot, but I don't quite understand it, so I'm no good at promoting on Twitter.
You know, I actually don't have a Twitter. What I started promoting with was Facebook and Reddit. Reddit is a really good one too. But I've gotten banned from a lot of subreddits because I didn't realize the rules. I didn't realize like some of them. I think they call it like spamming or whatever, like if like self promoting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've you've got to make it look like it's not your video and make it look like you're just talking about a video that you found. Because if they think it's like self promotion, then you you're gone usually.
another thing too is I made an Instagram account for my channel, and I hadn't used it for a couple of months, and I finally tried to sign back into it, and it said that I was banned for
Yeah,
putting something up there. It wasn't clear, so I don't know what I did. I broke some kind of rule on Instagram. I shouldn't have posted those photos. That's what it was.
yeah.
So, out of all of the crime horror cases that you look at, what is the most interesting? Like, probably like the scariest or most interesting. Like, which one kind of interested you the most while you're making the video? You're like, oh man, like this is really cool.
I like the ones where it's of people who aren't really well known. I find that cases of people who are really well known, a bit more predictable, or you've usually heard it before. Where if I find a case of something that's like completely random or of someone that's unknown, you usually get a bit more shocking things in there. Um, there was one I did about a Russian couple. I can't even speak. A Russian cannibal couple who basically ate a bunch of people. Um, there was another one from Russia. Common theme here. People in Russia are crazy. Um, and it was an old lady who'd eaten, I think it was 14 people. So she was like a cannibal. And I named the video Grannibal Lecter. A good play on words.
At what point does it become an uncomfortable amount of people eating?
Oh, one usually. It, it depends, I guess. It depends how they've done it. So um, I did a video about a couple of cannibals who lived in my city. One of them was just like a standard boring guy who just ate somebody. This other
Oh, that's good.
person, this other person, like used onions and other herbs and things like that, and like properly cooked them into a meal, which I thought was pretty creative, but at the same time, like he's thought about this too much.
Yeah, see, that's the point where it gets uncomfortable. Like the ones that randomly decide to eat the guy. Like I think it was the case where I can't remember what it was, but it was some website on the dark web where you could like sell your body to be eaten, and it was that one guy that ate that guy, and I think it
Oh,
was somewhere in Asia.
I remember that. I remember that. I don't remember all the details of it, but I do remember reading about that, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't think he seasoned him or anything.
Yeah, just raw.
Yeah, he just ate it raw, so it's not that bad. But someone that actually thought about it and was like, "Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna eat it with some good Chianti," you know.
Apparently, human meat tastes like pork, so
So I've heard.
hopefully,
So I've heard.
yeah. I don't want to try it, but apparently it tastes like pork. I'm not a big fan of pork, so I'll probably pass on human meat. If it was chicken or beef, then probably go
Have
for
you?
eggs.
There's something on Amazon. It's this jerky that you can get, and it has a whole bunch of different animals. Like they had kangaroo, alligator, and like a bunch of like really exotic things. And it basically the challenge is like you eat it and you have to figure out which one it was. Surprisingly, I think it was kangaroo. I think when you bit into it, and jerky's supposed to be chewy, but like you bite into it and it was so soft, like it melted in your mouth, and it was really uncomfortable. So don't eat kangaroo jerky.
Yeah, I'll try not.
Yeah, try to avoid that. I saw your it was you and Castle Central. You guys did that video where like you rated the ghost apps, which
Oh
is
yeah,
definitely up my alley. And I commented, I'm like, hey, I definitely want to come and visit you guys, and we got to do an investigation out where you are.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I've just bought a house in January, and it came with a cellar. The cellars, or I think you guys call it a basement.
Yeah, us
And
Americans call it a basement.
so the house was built in 1875, what I live in now, and the cellar was mainly used for like storing coal and things like that. So it's really dirty and smelly and old. But I want to clean it up and make that into what I'm going to call the Spooky HQ, which sounds good. And that'll
I
be the
like it.
place where I film and do all kind of recordings. Because having two kids in the house, you don't really get much of a proper space to do it at the moment. So that could be my man cave down there.
I like it. Yeah, what's interesting is here the oldest place that's around me is that's still standing because there's been so many fires like around this area, and so all the older buildings, of course, have been burned down because of either the Civil War or just back then things just caught on fire for some reason. So I think the oldest place is like 1710 or something like that. That's why I would love to go to England and be like, oh yeah, I'm at this bar that was built in 330 AD,
Yeah,
and they've
that's pretty
had
much what it's like. Yeah,
I can't remember what it's called. It's some tavern. Oh man, what is it? It's like one of the oldest taverns in England, and they have records of like everyone that's ever owned it since like 500 or whatever. I would love to go to that place. It's like the most haunted
yeah.
place in the world.
I think it's in a town called Hertfordshire, and that's like in the southern part. I'm at the northern part, so it's much colder. And it's called Ye Old Fighting Cocks, I think. And I think it was um, 790 something AD, 793 AD, I think. Um, yeah, and it's like the oldest pub that we've got.
Yeah, so of course, whenever like coronavirus goes away, I'm definitely coming over. I'm getting a passport. I'm going to England, and yeah, we're gonna hang out doing a ghost investigation somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. There's a place just near me, like another city, and it's like a 20-minute drive or something. And it's called York. I don't know if you've ever heard of a place called York, and it's really old. All the buildings are very old, and it's renowned for like its paranormal activity essentially. And there's people doing ghost walks around the city, and there's a lot of pubs that are supposedly like really haunted. So and you can stay the night as well. So I wouldn't mind doing that. It'd be pretty fun.
Have you?
I'm not too much of a believer, but Luke, who's part of the Spooky Boys Club with me, he's a big believer. So I think it's got that good sort of dynamic where like I'm skeptical, but until I see something, then I'll believe it if that makes sense. Whereas he does completely believe in it all.
Yeah, our paranormal group, we call ourselves skeptical believers. Like when we go into places, we try to think of any possible explanation, so that way we're not just like, oh my god, something touched me, it's just like some kind of breeze or something. That's why like when things unexplainable happen, it's so scary to us because we can't think of a logical explanation. Like there's only been two times that that's happened out of this past year of us doing probably 45 to 50 investigations we've done in 2020. And yeah, the first one was we were walking through this house, and then off to the left, they had like this cellar door. And then all of a sudden, the cellar door like shook, like someone was on the other side, like shaking it. And we turned around, and we're like, who the hell is down there? And we saw that the people in the house were inside. No one was messing with it or anything. So Jeff and I went over to the door. We opened it up, and down there, the only thing that's down there is a hot water heater and a chair in the middle of the basement. And so we walked down these wooden stairs down to it, and we saw that the hot water heater, when it would kick on, it didn't shake the door or anything. So it was nothing with the pipes or anything that would make the door shake. And we couldn't figure it out. So that was pretty scary. It was like whatever it was wanted us to leave, and we had a really bad feeling about that place. Like the little kid there, he would draw pictures of this demon. He said it was this man in black that lived in the walls, and he would only come out of the wall when he was sleeping, and would come visit him at night. It was pretty creepy. And then the other one was the one where I posted that chair in the hallway and like all the crazy stuff that happened.
Yeah.
That was some poltergeist stuff, like things being thrown around, and I couldn't explain that. Uh, Drafts don't pick up a like a box and throw it down the hallway.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff is what makes me a huge believer in the paranormal.
That sounds absolutely terrifying, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I
That, that face going out of the wall, that's yeah. Ugh.
and people always ask me like, have you ever seen a ghost? I will say that I've never seen one. I've never seen like a full bodied apparition. I believe that I've seen some things. Like I've seen what looks like shadow figures at night, or um, but pretty much whenever I see those things, I'm either really tired or it could have been a trick of the light or something like that. But I've never
Yeah.
seen something where it's right in front of me. I'm talking to the person, and then it's like, oh yeah, that person's been dead for 20 years. I've never had that kind of experience.
Whenever people are like posting that they've seen a ghost, it's always like a little girl from like the Victorian times. It's never like someone from 2007. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like, I want to see a modern ghost, not an old ghost.
yeah. It's never Scott from 2012.
Yeah, it's a Matilda from 1634.
But what's probably the scariest experience that you've ever had in your life, or something that first pops to mind?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not too sure. When I was like really young, like 6 or 7, um, and this memory sticks with me as well in my brain. And I randomly think about it, and I don't know why. Um, I was laid in bed, and obviously all the lights were off, but my bedroom door was like open, just like a tiny crack, and I could honestly say I just saw like an eyeball just like looking through the crack, and I was screaming and screaming, and like I don't think my parents heard me because they were downstairs, but I definitely saw this eyeball looking through the crack of a door, and yeah, it's still stuck to me to this day.
That's weird.
I've also I've got a really big fear as well, of like sleep paralysis. Like it really fascinates me, but at the same time it absolutely terrifies me. To the point where I get too scared to sleep on my back in case I wake up and there's like something sat on my chest. Like I think it's like an irrational fear essentially, but yeah, it's definitely something that really creeps me out because even though I know it's like in your mind and stuff, just the thought of like seeing like some creepy demon looking person in the corner of your bedroom staring at you, um, really scares me.
That happens to me just about every night.
Oh God.
Yeah. I think it's stress related. Like I know it's not real. Like I know there's not an actual demon in the corner of my room. But I like ever since I've gone through my breakup and everything, now I've been sleeping alone. And it's the first time I've been sleeping alone for years. And before even now, I used to see it every once in a while if I was stressed, but for the most part, it wouldn't show up as often. But now, it's really bad. And I just started doing Yorktown ghost walks, so I'm constantly talking about like scary things there. And as soon as I started doing that, I started to see British redcoats, like some kind of like Spanish pirate, like skeleton kind of thing, and like a lot of really weird stuff that's tied to the historical side of like Yorktown and stuff that's near me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's not real, so I'm not saying like it's sleep paralysis because I'm still able to move and I try to talk to it or whatever to make it go away. But it's still really scary to wake up in the middle of the night and see somebody
Oh yeah,
standing in your room.
definitely yeah. I can't
No,
imagine.
no. Um, so what is the future of your channel? What's some of the things that you're kind of looking forward to?
So, I really want to make like documentaries, um, mainly ones like about true crime, things like that. So, I really want to make one about the death penalty, whether or not it should come back in the UK. So I think it'd be good to get like that balance of people who think it should, people who think that it should not, and like why essentially. I want to make a documentary about the prison near me, the Wakefield prison. Um, I've been in touch with the Wakefield prison. I can't go inside of it unless I've committed a crime, but I know where I can film, so I know where my boundaries are, so I don't get in trouble. Um, and I really want to make this is like a long term. This one, I want to make a horror movie, whether or not it's like an hour or 45 minutes long. I want to make like an actual horror movie. Would be really really good.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I hope that you're able to do that.
What about you?
Uh, Very similar actually.
Yeah,
I just posted on my Patreon like some of the things I'm looking forward to in 2021. Like 2019 was scary story narrations, that kind of thing, and then 2020 was deep dives into some scary stuff. Like I do history of creepy pastas and that kind of thing, and ghost
yeah.
investigations, exploring abandoned places. Um, but 2021, and I'm working on it now. I'm working on a short horror film. I have it right here. Here's the face of one of the things.
I remember you talking about it last time, like last week was it, or the week before? I remember.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why I decided to do something really difficult the first time around because I want to film at night. I want to do like a night shoot, but that's really hard, especially when you don't have lights. You don't have a really good camera that can actually capture as much light as you need to do that.
Yeah.
So I'll see how that goes, but I think it can be pretty good. I think it's going to be scary. But I want to do
Oh,
short horror films in 2021.
yeah.
At least three of them. I have three planned that I want to do.
How long do you reckon it'll last? Like how many minutes or hours?
Um, the first one, well, actually, probably the first two, about 15 minutes tops, if that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, pretty quick, but it's super low budget. Uh, I told the guy that's going to be the main actor in this one, which he's the only living person that's going to be on camera. I was like, I can pay you like $40, you know,
Yeah.
and then if it actually does well, you can get some kind of like royalties from it or anything like
Yeah.
that. But my dream goal would be, have you ever seen the short horror film Lights Out on YouTube?
Is that the one where they flick the hallway light out and there's like a figure and they flick it back on, there's nothing there, and back off and it gets closer and closer. Is that the one?
Yes, that's the one. That's the
Yeah,
one where
I've seen
they,
that.
yeah, they did that awesome short. I think it's a married couple. They do a whole bunch of short horror films together, and
Did they do one where they had a the phone camera and she had like an apple and she pointed at the apple and she couldn't see it or something, but she could see the demon on the phone. Is that the same people?
yes, yeah, it's the same people.
I like them. They're
Yeah,
good.
and Lights Out ended up becoming like a actual movie, like an hour and a half film, and it was kind of decent, but the short horror film was a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. I made two short horrors. Um, oh, when was it? Maybe like 2 years ago or something. One of them was called Peephole, um, and it was about it basically starred my wife because I can't afford to pay anyone, um, and it was basically um, she got home and she was getting messages on the phone and it was pictures of her while she's out. She's like, oh, this is weird, but obviously more creepy than that. Um, I mean, she kept getting pictures, and it was outside the house, and then it was outside the front door, and then she put her right to the people and things like that. The other one was called USB, and I wouldn't mind remaking this one actually because obviously you learn a lot, like many years later or whatever. And it included the actor was my father-in-law, and I think the idea is really good, and I think it could be done much better than I've done it. Um, so essentially, he gets a letter through the door, and inside the package is a USB stick. And obviously, he looks at it and he plugs it into his computer, and he loads up the video because it's got video on there. And the video is of this man in like some. We did it in his garden shed, but it wasn't the best location. Um, it was a man with like a sack over his head, and he pulls off this guy holding the camera pulls a sack off his head, but he's watching himself. He's watching himself be tortured. He gets teeth pulled out. He gets like his chest sliced open, and he's watching himself be tortured and murdered, and he's really confused. And at the very end, the last shot is just the bag going over his head and pulling him out of the frame. I think it's a good idea, and I think I can do it much better than what I did it years ago. So I might have another go at that.
What was your inspiration for it? Like, how did you come up with that idea?
I can't remember to be honest with you. Um, I may have seen something what inspired me about it, but I always thought, wouldn't it be good to sort of have someone watch their own death or watch their own torture, and then it ends with them being captured? Um, I just thought it'd just be a good idea, I guess.
I'm gonna have to watch it like once I get off of this before I start the live stream. I'm gonna watch it. I saw the one with your wife that popped up on my YouTube thing, but I haven't watched it yet. So I'll go ahead and
Yeah,
check those both out. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, the one that I'm working on now, I had a dream where I'm running through the woods, and then all of a sudden I turn and look to my left, and there's this tall, like 7 foot tall, Wendigo looking thing out in the middle of the woods, pitch black, and it turns and looks at me, and then I'm like, oh shit, and I just like run the other direction, and I just remember how scared I was in that dream, and then so I kind of took that idea, and then put in how could I get to that point, what's the
yeah,
lore behind it, why is that thing out in the woods, why am I out in the woods, and just kind of going from there with it. Yeah, and the other
so,
one that I'm thinking of, it's I posted this up on Facebook. I don't know if I posted it anywhere else, but it's one where it's the theme is suicide, and
yeah.
basically the main character in it is a little girl who is deaf, and she's not able to hear the whispers from this monster, and so because of that, she's kind of immune to it. But the rest of her
Yeah,
family can hear it, and so basically, it's sort of like a happening type of thing where you're following her, but everyone else is like killing themselves because of this demon type thing that's in her house. But she doesn't realize that it's going on, but you do, and you kind of see everything that's happening. So that's something
that
that
sounds good.
that's something that I'm gonna work on later on this year once I'm done with the one
Yeah,
out in the woods.
that sounds really good actually.
Yeah, I would definitely like to collaborate with you in the future and maybe do a short horror film.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, but I don't want to take up too much of your time tonight. I know what over there it's 9:30 just about or 10:30.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, it's like 4 o'clock here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and shower. I smell like onions.
Nice.
It's because of work though. Like nothing silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So during the day, I'm a produce manager at a grocery store. So I'm just like cutting fruits and vegetables and
Yeah.
putting out flowers and stuff.
Do you get any free stuff or not?
No,
Yeah.
no, no, I don't. They do give us a 30% discount, but it's a really upscale um, supermarket, so it's really expensive. But with my discount, it's like if I went to
A normal
Walmart or something.
price. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, a normal price. Um, but thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, and
Yeah, thank you for having me.
kind of plug in where people can find you and sort of your YouTube channel, social media, and everything about yourself.
Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube at Rotting Llama Productions. I do a lot of like true crime, horror, any kind of weird, dark video I can get my hands on. I've got a series called the Spooky Boys Club, which I do with my cousin called Luke, who also now edits some of my videos because I don't have the time to do it during the day or night, having a baby. Um, Social medias, I've got a Facebook page called Rotting Llama, Instagram and Twitter. Although I don't really use them too much because I don't really I'm not good at that stuff. And I've got some T-shirts with this logo on, and that's at Teespring. You just search Rotting Llama if you want. You don't have to get any, but they're there.
The first person that actually gets something from you from my channel from Teespring, I'll go ahead and send them an autograph something. I don't know yet.
Yeah,
So guys, go ahead and check out Rotting Llama, Rotting Llama Productions on YouTube. I'll leave the link in the description down below, and I will see you guys next time.
brilliant.